Good morning, class! How are you feeling today? Are you all good? Wow, I'm glad to hear that. Now, I hope you're all doing good because we will be having a new discussion for today. But before anything else, please be reminded of my rules in this class. And my rules are abbreviated to a word, pray. So firstly, letter P stands for pay attention. So that simply means that when the discussion has finally started, I want your full attention. I want you to watch and listen carefully. Secondly, R stands for respect. So that means that when someone is talking, please do not interrupt, okay? I want you to listen to my discussion and to your classmates who are answering my questions as a sign of respect. Thirdly, A stands for answer in complete sentence. So that means that when I ask you a question, I want you to answer it in complete sentences using English language, okay? And lastly, Y stands for yes. So I will give you differentiated activities for you to answer that are related to our discussion for today. And I want you to say yes, whatever it is. Are all of these rules clear to you, class? Wow, that's great. Now, are there any assignments to be passed today? Okay, how about any absentees? Okay, that's good to hear. Now, last meeting we discussed about colloquial and slang languages. Also, you learned to distinguish between them. Am I right? Okay, now as a review, we will have a short drill. And here are the directions. Now, I want everybody to read the directions. Okay, everybody read. On a half sheet of paper, classify the items inside the box under the two given categories, whether it is colloquial or slang. Review your answers. Then, give a definition of colloquial and slang language based on the entries you have classified under it. Are the directions clear, class? Okay, that's great. Now, are there any questions or clarifications regarding our previous discussion? Okay, there's none. That's very good. Now, to begin with our discussion for today, let us first have an activity. Are you all excited? Okay, that's great. Now, the title for our activity is Quick Debate. Now, sounds exciting, right? Now, here are the mechanics of our activity. Okay, so I want all boys to read the first 5 of the mechanics, okay? Boys, kindly read. Divide the class into 2 groups. The names of the groups are for and against. The teacher, or I, will pick the name of the team to avoid biases, okay? I will pick the name of the team here to avoid biases, okay? And then, the topic for the debate is life is better if we have a sky that is low. And the debate takes place with just one speaker for and one speaker against the topic. Okay, now this time, I want all girls to read the remaining mechanics of the game. Okay, girls, can we read? Choose one representative each group to represent your team. The teacher will give 1 minute to brainstorm ideas to your group. And the teacher will give another 2 minutes for the debate proper. Each debater has only 30 seconds to talk alternately. And if you run out of time, you will hear this sound. Okay, now the winning team is determined based on the number of stars the teacher will give or I will give. Okay, are the mechanics clear, class? Okay, are you now ready? Okay, now you should be ready because your timer starts now. Okay, the time is running. Now you have seconds left. Brainstorm ideas to your group. Okay. 40 seconds left. Now you have 30 seconds left for your activity. Now, 20 seconds left. Continue brainstorming ideas to your group. Okay, you have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then your time is up. Okay, very good. I am really impressed that you were able to finish the activity. And for that, I will give 5 stars for the 4 team. Okay, congratulations. And I will give 5 stars as well for the against team. Okay. So, the winners for this quick debate are both of the team. Congratulations, class. Now, I can really observe that both of the debaters have their own stand with regards to the topic. And we could barely imagine how life would it be if we have a sky that is low, right? Now, class. Okay, good. Now, class, do you know the reason behind that made the sky rise? Do you know the reason? Okay, do you want to know it? Now, that's great. Now, bear with me this time because we will discuss about the legend. We will discuss about the legend, why the sky is high. Okay, I will remove this first. Okay, we will discuss about the legend, why the sky is high. Everybody read. Okay, now, class, if you wonder who the author of this story is, my answer is, the author is anonymous or else unknown. It is for the reason that the versions of selections I will be sharing to you today are legends. And we all know that legends do not claim to be exact retellings of events. So, they are neither wholly believed nor wholly doubted by the audience or the author. Thus, the versions of selections that I will be sharing to you today have no author, since it just emerges by culture and carried forward by constant retellings. Okay? Am I understood, class? Okay, that's great. Now, I want you to listen carefully and attentively because learning about this story will help you discover how our ancestors explained the world around them. Consequently, you will also realize that the stories of before remain relevant up until today. Okay? So, also, I want your eyes, your ears, your mind, and your heart ready. Because at the end of the lesson, you are all expected to... Okay, I want everybody to read our objectives for today. At the end of the lesson, the students are expected to: first, determine the lives of the characters in the featured selections through graphic organizer. Second, draw similarities and differences of the featured selections in relation to the theme by the use of Venn diagram. And lastly, share to the class insights about the value of self-awareness. Okay, are the objectives clear to you, class? Okay, that's great. Now, before we will proceed reading the different versions of the story, let us first have an activity. Okay. Okay. Now, the title for our activity is Before and After. And here are the mechanics of the activity. I will going to divide the class into 3 groups. And I will going to assign selection to each group. Now, what you're going to do is you have to read and understand the selections carefully. And you have to determine the lives of the characters in the selection using the graphic organizer. This is the graphic organizer, okay? And then you have to list down your answers inside the sky or inside the clouds. Next is, you have to do the task for 5 minutes only. And you have to select a group representative to present and share to the class their answers or your answers and observations of the assigned selections. Now, are the mechanics clear, class? Okay, great. Now, are you now ready for your activity? Great. So, you may now begin answering your activity because your timer starts now. Okay. Time is running. And then time is up. Okay, remarkable. I am impressed that you were able to finish the activity and were able to determine the lives of the characters in the given selections. Okay, class. Now that you have done reading all the versions of the story, may I ask anyone from the class on how was the story? Was it interesting? Yes. Very well said. The stories are interesting to read. Okay, now may I ask, what are the stories all about? Yes? Very well said. The stories are all about the claims of the people from the different places of the Philippines on the reason on why the sky is high. Now, I have here a question. What does the sky symbolize in the 3 selections? Anyone from the class who can answer this question? What does the sky symbolize in the 3 selections? Yes! That's impressive. The sky symbolizes peace in the 3 selections. It is for the reason that it gives peace to the people on earth before and it makes their work done easier, right? Now the second question is the rising of the sky a punishment? Why or why not? Anyone from the class? Again, is the rising of the sky a punishment? Why or why not? Yes! That's exactly correct. Definitely no. It is because the rising of the sky is what makes us not to be lazy. And it makes us to realize that we need to work in order to get what we want, in order to get what we need. Not just wait what God gives us, right? Now, this time, now that you have fully understood the important details of the story, let us get into the similarities and differences of the given selections. And here are the directions. Now I want everybody to read the directions. Copy the Venn diagram below on a whole sheet of paper. This will help you compare and contrast the 3 versions of the legend. And then write the similarities on the overlapping areas of the circles and write the differences on the part outside of the overlap. Are this clear, class? Okay. Now, I am happy, I am glad that you were able to understand what we have discussed this morning. Now, truly, we tend to rush things up without being aware of what the consequences are. Now, remember, class, that our actions always have consequences, and that is being reflected by the 3 legends we have shared earlier, right? Now, if we do not consider our actions, we do not know what will be the consequences. So that is why self-awareness is important. Because when we have better understanding of ourselves, we will be able to make ourselves as a better version of ourselves, right? Now, I have here a question. How will you able to make yourself a better you? Anyone from the class? How will you able to make yourself a better you? Yes! That is great. Now, I am really glad, I am really happy that we effectively integrate the value of self-awareness. Now, this time, in order for me to test your personal understanding of our lesson for today, let us have an activity. And this activity is entitled Bump. Okay? Now, let me remove this first. Okay, wait for a while. Okay, now the title for our activity is Bump. And I want everyone to read the directions for our activity for today. Complete the bump game by answering what version of the legend is referred to each task. Select your answers inside the game grid with a shade. So you have to select your answers from this grid, okay? Then write your answers on a whole sheet of paper. Are these clear, class? Do you have any questions? Okay, none. That's great. Now that you have no questions at all, let us get into another activity in order for me to test your personal understanding of the lesson. Okay, now here are the directions. Again, I want everyone to read the directions for our activity. Okay, compose a 5 to 7 sentence paragraph that presents 4 to 5 harmful effects of taking actions without self-awareness. Make sure that your work has all the parts of a simple set paragraph and write this on a half sheet of paper. And your output will be graded and evaluated by this given rubric. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, you may pass your activity later on. Now, for me to reinforce what you have learned this morning, let us have your assignment to be passed next meeting. And here is your assignment. Now, I want all girls to read the directions. Choose at least one version of the legend, Why the Sky is High. Then, on a long band paper, create a comic strip about your chosen version. It must have contained at least 3 scenes and must not exceed to 5 scenes, and be guided on the given rubric. The output must be originally made and pass it next meeting. And here are the rubric. Here is the rubric for your comic strip assignment. Okay, are there any questions for that? There's none. Very good. Now, we are done with our discussion for this morning. Now, I hope you have learned a lot coming from our subject matter for today, Why the Sky is High. Now, that is all, class, and goodbye for now. Let's call it a day and see you next meeting. Goodbye.